Ryan, welcome to the Big Lad podcast. Third time lucky. We've had a few technical issues.
Yes, mate. You're all right.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. So, obviously today we're going to be talking about your hiking, and we might as well start right at the start.
Yeah.
How'd you get into it?
Yeah, no, so I suppose it's just how much time you've got. So I think I'll go back to, like you said, the very start. I mean, I've always loved the outdoors, I've always loved hiking, and I am a proper nature enthusiast. But I suppose like the last 2 or 3 years, I've proper dialed in on it. Simply because of, like I'm going to say, how it led me there was due to me dip in mental health. And that all started in lockdown in 2020. I know, like, there's so many people in the exact same boat. There's hundreds of thousands. It affected the world. It affected everyone globally. And obviously there's people like me who never suffered with it before that now do. And being totally honest, I think, like, leading up to me suffering with it, I'd never really knew what it was, didn't really believe in it. So yeah, I think where it started roughly for me, I'm going to say it's probably around about like the May time in 2020. I remember being on the field by my missus' mum's house with one of the lads, and we were just having a walk, and I remember just saying, I just don't feel right. Do you know what I mean? Something's just not right. I mean, you know yourself, don't you? You know your body. I was just like, yeah, just don't feel good. Anyway, I think a day or two might have passed, and I remember just being sat at the dining room table, and I remember just having this like really funny feeling in my chest. And it was almost like, it's like a flutter, really, like a heart palpitation. And well, that's what I know it is now. At the time, I didn't have a clue what was going on, and the sheer panic. I think my missus could see the panic in my face as well, and was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" I must have turned like white like a sheet, and I've ran to the kitchen sink and just put the cold tap on, and I've been splashing water in my face, thinking, oh my God, I must actually be having a heart attack. Turns out, after going to A&E and getting plugged up to ECG machines and stuff like that, it was a minor panic attack. Heart palpitations are quite common in young people. I don't know. That's what they told me anyway. So time goes on, and little things keep creeping up out the blue here and there over the following months. And another thing, the gym. It's like yourself, absolutely love the gym. The gym's always been a massive part of my life. And I think in lockdown, all the gyms shut, didn't they? That took its toll on me massively, because I'm 29 now, and I've been going to the gym since I was like 14, 15, and I do that religiously. I think once I got to like the age of like 20, 21, I wasn't actually going to the gym anymore to look well or have this physique.
Yeah, I'm similar, to be fair.
I was literally going because I knew that it was good for me, and it's like, I don't want it to sound too cliche, but it's like my church.
Yeah. It's just like a head clear after the day of work, isn't it?
It is, mate, honestly. Like, you'll finish your day, you'll go to the gym. You've probably got people in the gym that you like to have a chat to, who you see regular all the time, and it's like a good little like community, isn't it? And yeah, that got took away from us, and I think that was a massive void for me, and I think that's what that caused the dip and stuff. But then, like I was saying, little things kept creeping up here, there, and everywhere. And I remember from like, I'm going to say, like the August time, that year, August, September, I was waking up of a morning. I woke up one morning and I had like ridiculous pains behind my eyes, like excruciating pains. And I was thinking to myself, what's this now? Do you know what I mean? So before I go any further, a lot of my mental health is, and a lot of people will relate to this, because ever since I've started doing like CBT and therapy sessions, people I meet who have suffered with mental health, I've met so many people who suffer with it like me, and it's all like health anxiety.
So it's not necessarily like an actual external thing, it's more of a mental thing of you stressing that there's something happening to you that's potentially not actually happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And what happens is it ponders and it starts festering, and then your mind starts creating symptoms. The mind's such a powerful thing.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy, honestly. The mind, no one can actually comprehend just how complex the human brain is. And if your brain wants to, it can create a symptom that is just non-existent and is not actually wrong with you. And that's what goes on with me a lot of the time.
Right.
I'm going to say for like 12 months. So I'm saying from like the August of 2020 up to like March time, I was having these eye pains and headaches every single day. And as time's going on, I'm seeing doctors all the time. The doctors were probably sick of me. I was going to ENT, ears, nose and throat specialists to find out what was going on. In the end, I was, because believe it or not, I actually asked the GP a multitude of times, can I get an MRI scan on my head just to rule out that was nothing wrong? Yeah. They were adamant, no, you're fine, you're fine. All right, well, if you can see someone suffering that much with headaches, why don't you just give him an MRI scan? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so anyway, in the end, I started saying to the GP, I'm going to start referring myself to private because I'm going to book a private scan. Yeah. And I just need you to write a few notes to Bupa, who was going to book it through. Anyway, lo and behold, after I'd said that to the GP, they were like, oh no, it's fine, we'll get you an MRI scan. So we're talking, so I was saying less than 12 months actually, because we're saying early Feb 2021. I get this MRI scan, completely fine. Yep. Nothing wrong with me. Like going back to what I was saying, my head's just obviously, my brain's created these symptoms, but I was still having these problems, and I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out what was going on. And I just thought one day I'll take it upon myself. I'll go and see a chiropractor. Anyway, long story short, I actually went to a chiropractor, and within 10 minutes, this chiropractor, Dawn, by the way, she's brilliant. She's only based in Widnes. She told me within 10 minutes that my jaw was out of line.
Right.
And what's happening is you're grinding your teeth. She said you're grinding your teeth at night when you're sleeping. And whilst you're asleep for those 7, 8, 9 hours, whatever it may be, and you're grinding your teeth, you're waking up in the morning and you're feeling the repercussions of that. Right. You're waking up with them eye pains because all of your nerves and your muscles are connected to your jaw from your eyes. So I was like, oh my goodness, why could I have not found you? Like on day one, I've gone to countless GP appointments. They've not done anything. I've gone to ENT specialists. I've seen this person, that person. No one could give me an answer. Anyway, got the answer, and I got a gum shield fitted to me jaw and slept with that. And within 2 weeks, gone. So
mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. But what that's done is that's made a lasting effect, and still to this day, like I know social media is a massive facade. Like people see my content all the time, and they're probably thinking, wow, this guy's got it all figured out and he's going out all the time on these hikes, he's doing this, that and the other. And I just want to put it on record, like, I still struggle massively. Not all the time.
I guess you find coping mechanisms, don't you?
Yeah. And to be fair, mate, I've done a lot of work on myself. with like the CBT. Massive shout out to like Night Stop community in Widnes. One of the ladies there. Won't mention her name just in case she doesn't want it mentioned. But she's a therapist at Night Stop. And she's been brilliant. I've done a lot of sessions with her. I think I've done 10 sessions. Excuse me, by the way. So I've done a lot of sessions with CBT. I learnt a lot from that. I suppose with the CBT kind of thing, if anyone watching's not too familiar with it, They're basically just counselling sessions, and it's sort of to like discover where the trauma lies within you, to try and best unravel your life, and then the person who's carrying out your sessions can sort of like pinpoint where it may be going wrong for you, or it might have gone wrong for you, that's causing you to feel the way you're feeling now. So I'm talking about stuff in these CBT sessions that I've never talked about. I've never shared with my partner, Megan. A lot of it I have, but there was loads of stuff that I'd never spoke about. Although I'd said me mental health dipped in 2020 after doing the CBT, there was so many things that we could piece together where that trauma may have triggered you to feel a certain way. And because anytime you suffer with something like mental health related, I just want to say as well, I'm not mentally health first trained. I'm not a mental health coach. I'm by no means trained in this. All I'm doing is just speaking on my experience. Again, like I said before, a lot of what I say might resonate.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
With people watching, and it can be quite relatable. And I suppose for my audience as well, like I've got a large following on social platforms now. So, and I've never really explained to my audience my background and why I got into it anyway. But can't even think where I was going with that then.
Where you were unravelling potential past traumas.
Yeah.
Understanding the way you act.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd highly recommend doing any CBT sessions if you can find somewhere local to you, reach out to your GP and ask them for best point of calls and point of contacts. There's loads of different organisations within your community. I don't know where you're from, but there will be organisations in your community, whoever's watching, to reach out to. Where we're from, it's Nightlife. But yeah, anyway, so I think the CBT came maybe like a year and a half ago. But going just after discovering that all my headaches were coming from, it's called TMJ. The term's TMJ. It's your temporomandibular joint. It's in your jaw. So after discovering that, my mental health started to like fizzle down, and it sort of like became a little bit better. And then I'm going to say, well, Megan, my partner, was 36 weeks pregnant at the time. And mum, God bless her, Debbie, the mother-in-law, Debbie's passed while Megan's 36 weeks pregnant. And obviously that's had a massive effect on Meg and my partner. But also me, I mean, I know it's their mum, and I can't even imagine what Megan and her sisters and the family and stuff went through, because she was like such a, I don't know, she was like the working cog of the family, the mum. She kept everyone together, everyone close and whatnot. And to lose her, it was like, it was a big shock. Because of her illness, obviously, we sort of knew where it was going, but even still, it's like the family have just lost such a vital figure. It was just unexplainable. But obviously when she's passed, that's just kicked my mental health off all over again. So a couple of weeks, and bear in mind, Mila was born, my daughter, I was going to say, my daughter was born 4 weeks after she passed. And don't get me wrong, that feeling when my daughter was born was, you can't, it's your first child, you can't explain, you can't describe what's going through your mind at the time. And it is literally the best feeling ever. Then weeks would go by and I'd just be down, and I'd be thinking, there's more to life than this. There's literally more to life than how I'm feeling now. And then at that time, a few weeks after she was born, I remember just being sat there thinking, I shouldn't be feeling like this now. I should not be feeling like this now. These should be some of the best days of my life. My daughter's just being born, but I'm I just felt like
Numb almost.
numb. Yeah, perfect word for it. Numb. Everyone in the family could see it. Meg could see it. Really close with Meg's dad as well. By the way, my dad could see it. Obviously, Meg's dad. Yeah, and I remember we're going to start going into how I got where I'm at today now. So we are getting there, mate.
No, it's fine. It's all good.
So I remember Craig one time. So Craig's Meg's dad.
Yeah.
I remember he came to me one weekend and he was like, "Look, I found this this group and they go to this. They do like this cold water dip on a Saturday morning at Crosby Marina." He was like, do you fancy coming to it with me? He said, "It might help you out." I was like, "Nah, I'm all right, to be honest, Craig. Thanks though." Adamant I wasn't gonna go. In the end, I think he practically like dragged me to go with him, and I was completely adamant I did not want to go and get in cold water. Never heard of it, never done it before, never even seen people do it before. I was like, "Honestly, mate, I'm fine." And he was like, "No, you're all right, you're coming." Do you know what I mean? I think he just wanted the company as well, though.
Yeah.
But a massive shout out to Craig. Like I said just then, I've got a really good relationship with him. Yeah, massive shout out to him for I don't know. I suppose like there's a saying, and I'm gonna butcher it, but it's along the lines of sometimes you don't know what's good for you until you're shown. And I genuinely needed showing what cold water therapy was to get me back on track and getting me back to a normal state of mind, or my state of mind, what I would consider normal. Anyway, I ended up going to this cold water session with Craig one morning, and there's so many people like over the years that I've like gone through this journey with that have got me where I am today. So like even them cold water sessions, they turn into a regular thing every Saturday. Shout out to Tom, Adam and Rob, who hosted them every Saturday. And these local lads, the local Liverpool lads, and they're absolutely brilliant. They ran them cold water dips every Saturday for a good few years, all free by the community as well. And they would have mass amounts of people turn up, and they all worked really well together. So we'd turn up at, depending on what time of the year we was doing it, so we'd always try and go for sunrise. Every Saturday, we would get there just before sunrise. Tom would have a little talk to us. He'd do a little visualization. He'd have a talk about something that went on in his week. He would try and get us to think about and be mindful of things that we could take into the weeks ahead for us that might benefit us. Adam was there to do breathworks for us, which were brilliant. I don't know if you've ever done much breath work.
Never done breath work. I've got an ice bath in the back garden.
Oh, have you?
That I don't use anywhere near enough as I should.
Mate, you need to get into
I've
it.
never done any of the breath work stuff.
Have you not?
No.
So basically,
Carry on, by the way.
yeah. So basically, the breath work. Now, I'm not a breath work coach. I'm no expert with it, but I do practice it a lot. There's so many different methods you can do. Adam himself, he always had us doing different techniques. And so there's ones where you'd inhale, exhale. There's loads of different methods that you can use. It's all intense breathing exercises, but there is also breathing techniques where they're nice and slow and calm. One of the ones we always done was like a Wim Hof breathing method. That's probably the most common, and that's gone pretty mainstream the last few years, and Wim Hof himself has as well. But that in itself, the breathwork sessions, I'd advise you just try one, because just try them a couple of times. The first time you try it, you might be a bit like, yeah, didn't really get much out of it, but keep practicing it and keep going over it. Honestly, mate, like the next level, really are. And what we'd do is, so Tom would do the, like, talk to us at the beginning, visualization. Sometimes Tom would run the breathworks as well himself. Adam would go through the breathworks. Rob would do another talk with us, and he would also do his own input on his visualization. And when I say visualization, for people who aren't the people that are watching at home that don't really know what that is. For example, in a visualization, we would all be laid there with our eyes closed, and I remember one of the that stuck with me was your inner child. I don't know if you've ever heard of like inner child work before. So basically, or closing your eyes, you are visiting yourself, and you're visiting your inner child all them years ago.
Is this like that trend that's going on at the moment where it's younger self at a coffee shop sort of thing?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
that sort of thing?
very similar stuff, Georgia. So inner child work is really good for trying to address traumas and stuff like that. So basically with the inner child stuff, they just tell you to go and visit yourself, grab your hand, tell the younger self everything's fine, look at you now, look at where you are, look at where you've got to, look at what you've achieved, stuff like that. It can get quite emotional. It can bring out all kinds of emotions when you're doing it. That's good. That is really, really good. So even when we was there doing the Crosby mornings, loads of people would be happy, they'd be laughing, they'd be crying with laughter, they'd be shedding emotional tears. And even just the breath work alone, I'm not going to say his name, but even I have though as well. Like, I've shed tears after breath work sessions. A lad on one of my walks has shed tears after a breath work session. But I love that. And I think you can see in people's face.
It's that release, isn't it?
It's a release, and it's such a great feeling. And especially for like men as well. And there's a big stigma around men not wanting to show emotion. Even me, myself.
Yeah, it's the fear of what other people are going to think, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, even me, myself, I'm scared to show emotion. Yeah. And there's probably reasons for that. But...
it's a protection mechanism, isn't it?
Yeah. But... yeah, so that's how... so, them Crosby mornings... oh, sorry, I forgot to mention as well, once we'd completed that series of different techniques, like the visualization... the meditation as well, forgot to mention the meditation, the breath work, and then Tom would run through like a little series of exercises, like burpees, press-ups. Sometimes we'd play bulldog on the sand. We'd just, like, there'd be like 50 of us playing bulldog at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Bunch of fellas.
Yeah, but no, there's mixed, there's women there as well. But like you'd see dog walkers in the background, and they're probably thinking, "What are they doing? What's going?" It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and there's 50 people playing bulldog on the beach.
A bunch of kids.
All those things, you don't realise the impact that they have, and a good one at that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and then we'd get in after we'd done the exercises. We'd get into the cold water, and you just feel incredible. And it's true. Like, for hours afterwards, you just be on this natural high, and there's no feeling like it. So then I'm going to these wellness mornings, these Crosby mornings on a Saturday, week in, week out with Craig. And then I think I'm going to say Walk Adventure started off the back of me just recording content for the three lads that ran these mornings. I was just literally... on a Saturday, I'd be documenting my journey on Crosby mornings. I'd be recording what we was doing. I was loving that because I love content creation. I never knew I did at the time, but that's how I actually got into the content creating side of things. I was just recording us doing meditation and bulldog on the beach at 7 in the morning, and then like 50 people just getting into cold water.
So you were creating the content for the three guys to post on?
Yeah, not purposely.
Right.
Not like specifically for them. I was just literally documenting what I was doing on a Saturday morning, tagging them, and they was always sharing it to their stories and stuff. Everyone that went there was posting it on the stories. Yeah, that's how Walk Adventure started, really. So I was just literally documenting that on a Saturday, and then it's sort of like the domino effect, really. I was going on a few different walks, community walks. There's a group in Runcorn called Thrive. I went on a couple of their walks. and that is just solely men focused. I think they actually do mixed stuff now as well for men and women, but at the time, the main focus was just men.
Sort of men's mental health.
Yeah. And they were pulling in like mass crowds, mate. I remember one of the walks I went on with them. It was in where I used to live, in Llangollen. And literally, there was about, I'm going to say, 80 men on this walk. We literally took over the town.
Not surprised.
Yeah. There's probably people at Thrive that'll watch this, that'll remember what I'm on about. And it pissed down. The whole day it pissed down. And everyone was like drowned rats. We intended on, they do all cold water dips and stuff as well. And we were that like wet with the rain. We'd already encountered the cold water dip anyway, so we just let it was a permanent cold water dip. And I had me spare change of clothes in my bag, and they were drenched. And in the end, I remember driving home from Wales that day in my boxers, just the whole way in my boxers. I even stopped off at the Costard on the way home in my boxers, and I remember the woman just stood there. It had to be a woman that served me. It wouldn't have been a man.
No.
It was a woman that served me, and she just took one look at me and was like, okay. As if to say, like, what have you been doing? And I had to say, I don't usually drive like this, love. I've just...
Promise.
I promise you I don't drive like this usually, but all my clothes are soaking. She was just laughing her head off. But so that's how I got into the outdoors. Yeah. Again, I'd refound my love for the outdoors, and yeah, thanks to the team at Thrive, I went on a couple of their stuff, and then it sort of inspired me then to, I don't know, proper get out there. And I was going out a lot by myself and just recording my hikes, recording myself doing cold water dips and stuff like that. And what that did then was, I mean, at the time, I'm going to say I had maybe 200, 300 followers. And I was just posting the content at the time I thought was amazing. And I was like, this is really good. And it turns out now, if you look back, if someone wants to go back and look at all me old reels and TikToks, you'd be like, who's done that? A 2-year-old? I mean,
everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
like if you go back on my Instagram, there's some awful content.
But do you know what? I'll always keep it there.
Oh yeah, you got to do it.
I'll always keep it there, mate, just because like I look how far I've come now with the content creation side of things. Yeah. But yeah, what that done was it brought back a lot of my old friendship group, which I absolutely loved. Yeah. So when I say old friendship group, there wasn't necessarily friends I didn't speak to anymore, but it was more so that we just never really seen each other.
Different interests and stuff like that.
Different interests. I stopped going out years ago.
See, I've noticed there's like a massive jump, isn't there, recently from lads mainly that go out all the time, overindulge in alcohol and maybe drugs and stuff. And all of a sudden they have this massive switch to all of a sudden I'm going hiking and climbing mountains.
Yeah.
Like what do you think the reason is behind that? Is it a mental health thing? Like a different side of mental health to yours? But
so it's a really good question, that, because I see a lot of it all the time, and who knows? I think maybe it might sort of be a case of I've just done this to my body. I need to feel good again about myself. I'll go into the mountains. Or it might just be a case of they genuinely love the outdoors, but still like going out on the session as well.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of that. But I think a lot of it as well is that I think today, now more so than ever, there's a mass decrease in alcohol consumption, people going out and taking drugs and what have you, because I think people are so much more mindful of wanting to feel a certain way and wanting to feel the best version of themselves.
There's a mixture for me. I think there's obviously the cost of it now. It is ridiculous. You're looking at over £6 a pint now.
Yeah, joke.
Much. On the back of lockdown as well, everyone was drinking during lockdown.
Yeah.
Like everyone. And I think people just had enough after that and wanted a change, get out, see more of the world and stuff.
Yeah.
But then there's that, like I was saying, the mental health side of things. Like alcohol is a depressive thing to consume. To wake up, say on a Sunday after a night out on a Saturday and you just feel crap, you waste a day. Or you could not go out and then go climb a mountain and feel great about yourself.
Literally. And not even just for like climbing a mountain. It might just be going for a walk. Like most of my community walks, they're all just little trails. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can take your dog on. I mean, granted, I hike a lot of mountains, but they're not necessarily where I would take the community because a mountain takes a lot of different abilities.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to account for everyone that's
and safety reasons. Yeah, it just wouldn't be viable to do. But all the community walking I do, it's all like low level ability stuff, and anyone can do it. But yeah, just going back to like not even just being outdoors, it might just be I don't know, go and spend the day with the family.
Yeah, just chat, having a conversation.
Yeah. Go and do something that you don't usually do.
Like me and a few of the lads went for a long walk when was it, Saturday or Sunday a couple of weeks ago. We just went for a long walk and we went to Patisserie Lane for the coffee afterwards.
Yeah, sound.
We were out for 2-3 hours, had a chat, had a laugh.
Yeah.
Something completely different than going out.
Perfect, mate. Just something like that. Just something little like that just to take the edge off. You don't need to go and sink 10...
To be fair, we did that last weekend.
Did you? You can do that if you want.
It was one of the lads' birthdays though, so it was an occasion.
You can do that if you want. And do you know what? I'm not going to sit here and preach like, don't drink this, don't drink that.
It's the balance, isn't it?
It is, but years ago, I was out all the time. I was really bad for being out. You probably know yourself. I was out literally Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, come home Sunday. Yeah, so... It's
just so ingrained in the culture though, isn't it?
Yeah,
It hits the weekend and then you've got a pint in your hand.
Yeah. Weren't pints for me, it was steamboats. It was Southern Comfort and lemonade. Oh mate, I used to tank that.
Wake up in the morning and your teeth feel horrible, don't they?
Yeah,
they're melting away.
Just feel like fucking fur balls.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
But yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say like this, that, and the other. Like, don't do that. I don't drink anymore, but I've had my fair share of drinking, mate. I don't know if maybe that's where some of my problems might come from now. I don't know, but I just know what works for me mentally now, and that is obviously family's priority. My daughter and my fiance, they're my priority, and everything I do is for them. But ultimately, like, me being in the outdoors allows me to be the best version of myself, and my fiance knows that as well. And loads of people, I get this so many times. How are you allowed out so much on the weekend? How are you allowed to go here, there and everywhere? Your partner's so understanding. And do you know what she is? Like, without her, I'm not the person I am today. I'm putting that on record now.
It's like, I saw one of your posts the other day where you were just hiking and put a tent up on the side of a mountain. a little solo camp. I was like, fucking mad.
Yeah. See, like, people say all the time, like, you do that, like, most week. I mean, what we have like a bit of an agreement in place, so I'll go out one weekend and on the other weekend I'll be at home. And I say the weekend, I'm only out for a Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
At the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll do a wild camp. I'll go on Friday night or a Saturday night and get back early doors the next day. Make sure I have got some allotted time with the family. But the reason Megan allows me to do that so much is because she knows how much that benefits me.
Yeah, exactly. So if you didn't do it, you wouldn't be as good to the family.
Yeah. And she knows that, and she fully understands that, and that's I'll forever be grateful for that, and I tell her all the time. So yeah, going back to, I've just completely gone off on a tangent there, but so I've now been posting my hikes to a small number of people on my platforms,
Don't say small, you've got, what, 25,000 followers on Instagram?
Yeah, well, at the time it was. It was. And it's bringing all the old friendship group back.
Yeah.
And I was seeing all the lads that I hadn't seen for years, and they all know who they are. And we were going out. I remember the year of the summer 2023, we must have been out every weekend for like 8 or 9 weeks straight. We were going the Yorkshire Dales, Peak District, North Wales, Mid Wales, the Lake District. I think we counted like 4 weekends on the trot of just driving up to the lakes and ticking off all these different hidden gems and locations, and it was just so good, mate. Like,
you know, when you pick the locations, is there anything specific that you're looking for to maybe enhance like your mental health or well-being, or is it a case of there's all these places to go, we're just going to tick them off one by one?
Yeah, so there's so many different things and so many different thought patterns I have into why I choose where I want to go. And I've got my boss in work years ago bought me a book saying UK Wild Swimming. And mate, honestly, there's places in that book, and she might watch this, I don't know, but nice one for getting me that book, because I still to this day pick some spots out of that book,
right?
And hidden gems from that book, and there's loads of different places to take inspo from. Obviously, Instagram and TikTok is a big one.
I keep finding myself following more and more accounts on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, it's massive, mate. And do you know what? I speak to people all the time about like the pros and cons of social media, and let's face it, there's loads of cons around social media, but we just stay away from that. There's so many bad things.
It all depends how you use it.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that you can use it to your advantage. Like, I've been in contact with people that I would never have spoke to unless I'd have started my social media.
Yeah.
Like, this week alone, I've got a fella from America coming on the podcast. Yeah.
That's mega.
If I didn't have the podcast and everything set up, I'd have never spoke to him.
Yeah.
Like, this fella's he's drove his Porsche around 51 national parks in 50 days. So I was like, that's so sick. And he did it on the top of his Porsche as well. He had like a tent box.
No way.
So I was like, if I hadn't started my social media, I'd have never spoken to this fella. Yeah. I'd have never even known he existed.
Yeah. See, stuff like that, like I was saying, it's perfect. Like the amount, like what you were saying then, the amount of opportunities I've faced myself with and the people I've met through social media, it's brilliant. I've been on hikes with literally people I've just met who have followed me and I've followed them, and we've just hit it off and we've generated really good friendships from it, and we'll be friends for life. And anytime we're in the outdoors, we'll go and we'll just go and kick it and go and climb a mountain and do whatever. But obviously, like I said, there's cons to social media, negativity. I literally stay away from all that. My whole algorithm is just outdoors and nature. Like, that is it.
Yeah.
And I love it. So once me and all the lads in 2023 started to, we was out every weekend. I'm documenting that. And the followers just coming in. And the amount of messages I was getting to say, obviously, they're seeing these videos of groups of people and they're saying, can I join your hike? Do you have a hiking group? This, that and the other. And at the time, obviously, I didn't. And I think with the amount of messages I was getting, it just became natural to set up the community hikes. And what I'd done was then, October 2023, I set up the first community hike. I think there might have been like 8 or 9 people there, so not many at all. And each month I was putting on a different one, different location. They've just become they've come on leaps and bounds. And now we've got a community on the channel. We've got 320 people in the community.
I joined it the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus
so,
Christ.
I mean, you can never get that many people on one hike.
Yeah.
And in one spot.
Be a trouble if it is.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to get them all in the car park.
Yeah. Oh, mate. I think I'd run off myself.
That's got a megaphone. Come on, girl, follow me.
But, yeah, so we've got a massive community now. There's like 320 people. that all intermittently come to the hikes. I would actually love to get that many people on one hike. It'd be cool.
You have to organise one like way out in advance. So people
it would be good. And I probably will do something like that in the future. But on the hikes itself, we haven't done them as of recent, but it's more so of a summer thing. But when the weather's a bit warmer, we like to do a hike. We'll do a cold dip. In the summer, it's not too cold. It's nice and refreshing. It's refreshing, and you need it. Yeah. It's nice, and we'll go and do like a little meditation and a breath work. And funny enough, Craig, who was mentioned earlier, the father-in-law, he carries out the breath work. Yeah. Because Craig himself, like we started that journey together. Yeah. He was doing a little bit before me. But we started that journey together, and he's took it to another level, and he's practiced. He's a Reiki practitioner now.
All right, okay.
He does breathwork sessions every week, religiously. He's constantly working on himself. He can actually practice like distance Reiki. He's really, really good with it. And like the meditation side of things, he's even come up with his own meditations. So Craig Hoff. So he started helping me out and doing that for the group. Obviously in the colder months like now, he won't. Yeah. And it's just hard, mate. You know, when you're on a hike and there's just sludge all around you and you can't sit anywhere. Yeah. There's no point. It'd actually make the experience worse. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Walking around with a muddy arse afterwards.
That's it, really. And the community walks, they continue to grow. And a lot of people say to me, "Are you all right doing these?" Like, because like obviously a few people in the walks know that I've suffered mentally and stuff like that. They always ask the question to me, "Are you okay?" And people don't realise, like, I'm not just putting them walks on for everybody else. Yeah. They don't realise how much it helps me. Yeah. Just getting out there and speaking to, and obviously every time I put a walk on, someone new comes. So like a couple people arrive from, they come from all over the country, mate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
The thing is though, like as soon as someone posts it on their story, they've got a whole following that's going to reach as well. Yeah. So it's just going to grow arms and legs.
Yeah, 100%. But everyone who comes on the walks, they don't realise how much it actually helps me. Yeah. And I just wanted to say that because I'm not just there lingering at the back of the group or at the front. I'm literally mingling with everybody. I'm asking everyone how they're getting on. How's the week been? What are the plans in the coming weeks? Are they going away? Are they doing this, that and the other? Are they struggling with anything at the minute? But yeah, that's a big part of the community walks that I love. Excuse me. So, that's it really, mate.
Yeah. So, with the sort of hiking and stuff, obviously you'd say you do it for the mental health side of things. Do you correlate the sort of physical challenge with the mental resilience and stress management as well with that?
I know what you're saying there. So basically I was having this conversation the other day, and just correct me if I'm wrong, I think I know borderline what you're talking about. The hiking itself is one thing, but what I'm doing solo at the minute, it's like stepped it up a notch. So like outside of the community walks, I'm doing scrambles.
I've seen some of that.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I'm doing scrambles up. I'm doing ridge walks, North Wales, Lake District. Preferably just like grade 1 scrambles, grade 2. Obviously your grade 3s are like ropes and harnesses and stuff like that, which I'm not trained in yet. So some of the stuff I'm doing now in the outdoors, adventures that I'm going through now, 2 years ago, I said I would never do.
Yeah, so it's pushing you out your comfort zone to do things hard.
Exactly, mate. And what I've found is, when I'm doing these scrambles, and they are borderline risky. hikes.
I saw one of the ones that you put on your story the other day. I think it was yesterday actually, where you're climbing along the side of that mountain with a harness, and there's literally little metal things coming out from the side of the mountain.
Oh yeah, that was the Via Ferrata. I've just done Via Ferrata in the Lake District. That was... So you are actually harnessed in with the Via Ferrata. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. But even with like the risky hikes, I'm in certain situations sometimes where I'm like... And don't get me wrong, sometimes I'll turn around and that's a given. If you're in a certain situation and you're like, I could die if I take the wrong foot in here.
Well, you've got a family back home.
I do that so many times, mate. Yeah. So many times. And some people might see the content and think, he's an idiot. But I might be with my phone out. But I do make mature decisions, and I am responsible, believe it or not.
With that, the overnight one that you did the overnight where you decided to go the different side of the mountain.
Yeah. Perfect example of it, mate. I was literally on the edge of Fleetwith Pike the other night, literally Friday, just gone. And I always check mountainforecast.com before I go out on any hike, and I have a look at the gust speeds, whether it's raining, snowing, the temperature, the wind chill. I'm checking everything before I go out. I want at least a decent weather window. If I know I've been stuck in rain, pissing down rain, like I was mentioning before. Yeah. Rainy hikes are just not for me. They're so
bit miserable.
Yeah, they're just so not for me.
You can't avoid that in the UK though,
unfortunately. No, you can't.
Can
you can't. But, I mean, if you get stuck in it when you're out, there's nothing you can do. But I'll do everything I can to try and work around it. So I'm always checking Mountain Forecast. Anyway, I've looked at the gust speed and it's only said 20 kilometres, which is fine. It's quite standard on a peak. But I've been on the edge of Fleetwith Pike the other day and set my tent up, and my tent is getting battered. Like, I'm not even joking. My tent is borderline, like, encaved, like, collapsing. So I've just thought, it's not worth it. I was thinking, it didn't give out these gusts, so I've just literally looked over the edge, and I'm just getting, like, battered with the gusts. So it's obviously just updraft. But I've just made the decision to pack up, go and find somewhere with a little bit of shelter. I'd noticed somewhere on the way up. So I just ended up staying there in the end. Leading back on from what I keep going off on tangents, leading back on from what I'm saying before, in these situations, ultimately what I feel is a level of stress that I'm like, right, I need to work around this. If I'm in a scramble, I'm like, am I putting my hand there and like, is my hand safe there? I'm checking for loose rocks. I'm putting my foot there, checking for footholds. I'm making sure that rock's not loose on my foot. If that rock's loose, you're gone.
Yeah.
And in them situations, it allows you to, in your everyday life, low level, what was at one point high level stresses. Yeah. Become low level stresses because you know,
start comparing it to I deal with this where I could potentially die.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially.
Yeah. Like,
makes it seem so insignificant on a daily basis.
Yeah. With my job and what I do, like outside of hiking, it can be quite stressful. Yeah. And I've stressed loads over the years. I feel like I'm in a position and a frame of mind due to me hiking that I've learned how to deal with certain situations a lot better. Yeah. And even just outside of work as well. I feel like now, more, I don't know if it's just because I've got a little bit older, loads of people tell me I'm like a granddad, but like years ago, like even driving on the roads, I was just like proper angry. Do you know what I mean? I was like a proper angry person. Even in school and college, I was just like not the person I am today. And we played footy together.
I was just going to say, I remember you used to miss a chance and you'd be pushing the floor.
Yeah, so like we played footy together, George, and like you said, I'd miss a shot on goal, and I would knock 7 shades of shit out of the floor. Yeah. I wouldn't stop until there was a hole about that deep in the floor, and everyone would stop on the pitch. All like 22 players, all like 21 players would be like, "What is he doing?" And then there's would be a massive divot in the pitch.
And you just have to sort of get up and go.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
The game had been played on about 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I was always a bit of a hothead. And don't get me wrong, I still am a little bit now, every now and again. But
it's more controlled.
Yeah. And I'm liking the development of and like the growth. I'm witnessing it. I take a step back every now and again, and I can see it firsthand on myself. And it's important that you do that as well. Everyone should take a step back, look at what you've achieved, even just like small wins. It can be anything. Yeah, take a step back and have a look and reassess and evaluate where you are today and appreciate it.
Yeah. So obviously going back to the community side of things, it's obviously now a big part of what you do. You go in maybe once a month with the community. What differences do you find when you go with the community compared to when you go solo? And if you had to pick one, which would you prefer?
That's a tough question. That's a good question. So, I am going to choose one, but I'm going to say, so both are good for different reasons. I love mingling with people, and the community walks are there for a reason, and that is to get everybody outdoors, and that is to get everybody out of the comfort zone, people who have never done any hikes before or are a little bit timid to go by themselves.
I guess it gets people together that would potentially never get together.
Yeah,
as well.
100%, mate.
Complete strangers.
100%. And I love that more than anything. Yeah. I love connecting the dots.
Yeah.
I like seeing that person and that person who you would probably never think would be in a room together having a chat.
Yeah.
I love that. But I think if I was to choose one out of the 2 points, obviously when I'm solo and I'm hiking mountains, I'm at like the utmost like solitude. Like that's probably one word I can put to it is solitude, and it's the time I get to myself and I can reflect, I can reset. Yeah.
Guess it takes away all the noise.
Yeah, it does. It does. But that's not to say I don't love me community walks, because I absolutely thrive off them. Yeah. But if I was to choose, I started solo, so that's where a lot of me passion and me love is. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'll stick with that.
I can kind of like agree with that, because not like I go hiking, but I will go for walks on my lunch just to get away from my desk and get out of the house. Yeah. And sometimes I'll either meet up with my brother or I'll go on my own, and I will have no music, no podcast, just literally listen to whatever's going on around me.
Yeah,
so there's obviously the social side of things going with my brother, but there's also that benefit of just literally walking and not having to think about anything.
Oh, mate, yeah.
And sometimes I prefer that. No offence to my brother.
Yeah, he's going to be gutted when he hears this.
Sometimes it's just like you just need a little bit of like time and space.
Yeah,
away from the noise.
100%, mate, 100%. Even just as far as like when I'm doing my wild camps, I was mentioning this to someone the other week, and because they'd mentioned one of me wild camps at Raven Crag in the Lake District, and they were like, "Do you not just get bored when you sat there by yourself?" And I'm like, honestly, no. Like, don't get me wrong, I download like some series to watch on Netflix because like in the winter, when you do a wild camp in winter, the light goes at like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then I'm an owl anyway, so I'll stay up till like midnight, 1 a.m. So I've got like 8 hours just by myself in a tent in the dark.
Just pissing yourself off into it.
Yes. So I'm just watching a series.
People walking past. What's going on?
So I'm just watching a series in my tent. But obviously, a lot of the time, I'm just literally listening for what's going on around. Yeah. And someone was asking, what do you do? And I'm telling them just that. And honestly, mate, this is going to sound sad, but like bird noises. I'm into like birds and like the names of birds and stuff like that, different species. I'm quite familiar with bird sounds.
Oh, you've really started learning them,
Yeah. I'm quite familiar with birds and the sounds they make and the chirps and the tweets. And when you're in like the middle of these wild camps up a mountain or in a forest, you hear noises that you've never heard in your life before. And I was literally when I was up this Raven Crag, I'm not even going to try and recreate the noise.
Yeah, let's not.
I'm not going to
be a viral clip.
I'm not going to recreate the noise I heard, but it was a bird noise I'd never heard in my life before, and I was just like, wow, like you don't hear that back at home.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect to it as well. I love. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's bring this one into land then. So last one. For those who are new to hiking or sort of looking to start, what beginner-friendly tips, tricks and sort of trails and practices would you recommend?
Yeah, so all I would do is look at family-friendly trails on social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok. I would do some research online. There's some really good articles you can find online for the National Trusts. If you go on the National Trust website, that's brilliant in itself. Family-friendly hikes, trails to get involved with. I find myself on that quite a lot for my hikes. Tips, just do it. Just literally do it. That's all you need to do. Don't ponder with it and think, do I not? If you're solo and you're a bit timid, look for a community or look for a hiking group.
Drag a friend along.
Yeah. Join my group. And this is what I want to say as well. Everyone always asks, how much is it to come on your group hike? And I'm like, it's nothing. Yeah. It's completely
outdoors is free. Like,
yeah. It's you can't charge people for the. I know there's people that do it, but I certainly don't.
It's going to cost you the car park.
Yeah, it's literally just the car park. So I always say it's completely free, and it always will be. So if you want to join, we do them once a month. You're more than welcome to come along. But as far as like the tips go, stick to the National Trusts. You can't go too wrong. They're low ability hikes, waymarked paths you won't get lost on, low numbers of styles, so you can bring your dogs and pets and what have you. Yeah, and that's more or less it, to be honest, George.
Pretty basic then.
Yeah. Just get out there and do it.
Some waterproofs, walking boots.
Literally, just all I'd say is get out there and do it. And I seen something you posted the other day where you was like, it's all a perception of what people will think of you, and it's like you said, no one cares.
No,
literally no one cares.
Too many people think that they're going to think something of them, and most of the time they don't.
Yeah,
it's something that you put in your own head.
Yeah,
and it stops so many people from doing things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it stopped me for years. And I know you've been in this space for years yourself now. And hats off to you, mate. I think you're doing brilliant.
Still got technical issues though.
Well, we all have, mate. We all have.
Weather shock this evening. Doesn't help when we both finish work about half an hour before pressing record.
I know.
But you know, we've got it.
Yeah.
Now, so.
No, 100%. Just trials and tribulations, innit?
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to what you were saying, just do that walk, post that content, or just do them things that you're thinking in the back of your mind, or what's that person going to think of me? Like, no one's bothered.
No.
Literally,
exactly.
No one cares.
No.
At the end of the day, what you do is no one's business. It's not going to affect their life. It's not going to affect your life. Just crack on.
Exactly. You got to do what makes you happy. Life's too short not to.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%.
Ryan, thank you very much for coming on.
You're very welcome, mate. Yeah, cheers.
If you've got this far, make sure you drop a like and a review, and if you're new, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
Peace.